How do you regain a feeling of trust for a partner who's wronged you in the past? How can people overcome years of disappointment in their marriage and suddenly create a whole new relationship with the same partner they've had for years? The truth is that you can fall in love again. You can be happier together than you've ever been, and you can do it quickly. In this film, you're going to meet a couple from Italy, Olivera and Gianfranco, who went through something that's the kiss of death for many couples: infidelity. They didn't see a way out, and they were desperate. They stood up to speak with Tony Robbins, and in one session, were able to rebuild trust and passion in a whole new way. I think you're going to get a lot out of this film. There's a strategy here that will transform your relationship no matter what. So let's get started. We begin with Tony giving a live seminar for 2,000 people. He's just asked people to stand up who are feeling suicidal. In a room of that size, you'll usually find a dozen suicidal people, and Tony's working with them to show the rest of us how a life can be transformed within about an hour. Tony doesn't know these people or their histories, and he doesn't know what's going to happen. At this point, he's walking through the group to see whom he can help next. Let's begin.
Are you suicidal?
Pensavo di averlo fatto, ma sono qua.
She thought of doing it, but she's still here.
When's the last time you thought of doing it? Is doing it, does that mean having sex? Because in my country, doing it means doing it. When's the last time you thought of doing it?
What Tony's doing here is setting the pattern for the conversation. When someone's sad or depressed, if you want to help them, you need to be certain they're responding to you. You need their cooperation. Tony sees that Olivera's in a grieving, depressed state, so he's decided to approach her with a totally different energy than hers, making sexual references, making her laugh. He knows that if she's laughing, she's responding to his communication, and that she'll be responsive when he needs her to take action. In the meantime, Tony's asking questions to get more information.
When's the last time you thought of doing it? Are you single or married?
Mio marito è qua.
Her husband is here.
Have you thought of having sex with him or someone else?
Con lui.
With him.
That's good. When's the last time you had sex with him?
Stamattina.
This morning.
And before that?
Oddio, non mi ricordo.
She doesn't remember.
That's right. That's why you were suicidal, but you're not going to be anymore. He's going to the shit out of you.
Tony's noticed that certain words and ideas make Olivera laugh, but he's also making her a promise that things are going to change for her. While Tony still doesn't know very much about this couple's story, he's already focusing on ways to help them.
Was it a good sign you had sex this morning since you can't remember the last time you had before that?
Era abbastanza eccitante.
It was very exciting.
Did you enjoy it?
Sì.
Yes.
See, I got that one, yes. Would you like more?
Oh sì.
Where is your husband? Where is your husband? What's your name, sir?
Gianfranco.
Franco. Franco?
Gianfranco.
John Frank.
John Frank.
John Frank.
Tony's using Gianfranco's name as the trigger for another joke, and you'll see Tony using this joke strategically later on.
John Frank, did you enjoy making love to your wife?
Sì, mi è piaciuto, tanto.
Yes, he liked it very much.
Did she initiate or did you?
Ho incominciato io.
He started it.
Good man. Did you know your wife has had suicidal thoughts before?
L'ha provato. Non l'ha solo contemplato, l'ha provato.
She tried to. She never actually did it, but she did try to.
How did she try?
Ha provato a tagliarsi le vene.
She tried to slash her wrists.
Can I see your wrists? Do you see that? Look at this. Do you see that? That's no exaggeration. When I came to Italy, women there grabbed me. Look, it's deeper than your cut. I swear to God, it was just in there. And in Italy, I still have a scar. It was like a month and a half ago. Look how deep that is. It's right across my veins.
Le
They
donne
were grabbing me like this and scratching. Let me see yours. Come on, put yours next to mine. I can't even see yours. Tell me, who's got a bigger scar, you or me?
È successo 6 anni fa.
It happened 6 years ago.
If it was a real scar, it'd still be there. Who's got a bigger scar? Me or you?
Tu.
Me. Yeah. That's from nails.
There's a method to what Tony's doing. He's guessing that Olivera spends a lot of time focusing on her pain and the ways that she's been hurt. So he's surprising her now. Instead of giving her pity for her scars, he's sharing his scar and comparing them. What he's saying is, hey, there's a lot of ways that you can deal with your hurts from the past. You can compare them, joke about them, tell stories about them, or brag about them like they're battle wounds.
I didn't know I was attempting suicide to go out and shake hands with these b****s. If you wanted to commit suicide, you could have. True or false?
È quello che mi ha risposto il mio compagno dopo che è venuto a prendermi all'ospedale.
Well, now, wait, don't even tell me what she said. I already saw. I hope you saw what I saw. You don't even have to hear the words. She smiled as she described it and pointed back towards her husband. Let's see. What'd she say?
She said that that's what her husband said when he turned up to the hospital.
And she smiled when she said that. Why did you smile when you just said that? It doesn't seem like a very happy moment. But you smiled a moment ago when you were talking about him showing up. Sir, John Paul Franco, King Louis, listen. And watch.
Tanti anni faccio finta di essere felice, rido per coprire il resto.
For many years she's trying to be happy, but she's trying to cover up.
What are you trying to cover up?
È la rabbia.
Anger.
And you're angry at your husband or someone else?
Nei suoi confronti, nei confronti dei miei genitori e del tribunale di Milano.
Oh, she's angry towards her family, him, and to the court in Milan.
Why are you angry with the court in Milan?
Nel 2003, quando due genitori, due adulti non vanno più d'accordo e c'è un bambino, ho preso mio figlio e sono andata via.
Now, all of you that are listening right now, you could tune out very easily, or you could really decide you could learn a lot because you don't know the verbal language. You could actually become so sensitized that you could say, how much am I understanding of what she's saying without the words? How many of you are getting the core messages even without the words? I bet you could even tell me which needs are driving her if you really, really trusted yourself a little bit. Why are you upset about the bambinos in the court?
She's upset because when she went to court, with her daughter, the parents were very unhappy that she actually went to court because her husband was hitting her.
This husband?
No, i miei genitori a 18 anni mi hanno fatto sposare con un altro.
You were married before?
18 years, her parents
In Albania.
forced her to marry in Albania, with someone.
È nato mio figlio nel 98.
Her son was born in 98.
Siamo venuti in Italia per cambiare vita.
We came to Italy to change our life. In 2003, the Italian law took her son away from her.
E glieli hanno affidato a lui provvisorio.
Basically, they gave it to the husband without recognizing her rights as a mother.
Is her husband living in Albania or in Italy?
Milano, Italia.
He's living in Italy.
How old is your son?
30 gennaio compie 12.
He'll be 12 on the 30th of January.
Do you have other children?
Una bimba di 4 anni con il mio attuale.
He's your child?
A daughter with four with this husband.
A daughter with this husband. Do you love your daughter?
Sì.
Yeah. Yes.
How old is your daughter?
4.
4.
So you think the best way to serve your son and daughter is to kill yourself because you're angry. You made a mistake. You should have given the child to me. See, I killed myself.
Quello è successo nel 2003.
This happened in 2003 when she heard of her son.
L'altro fatto in cui mi ha spinto a farlo è stato che ho scoperto i tradimenti del mio compagno, ero troppo innamorata.
Well, in the last few years, she's discovered that her husband has betrayed her 3 times, and this is why she's very hurt.
This husband?
Yes.
That over there?
Yes.
Why are you smiling? Translates into Italian, huh? Does this man love you? This little over here?
Penso di sì.
I think so.
Come with me.
Now that Tony's heard Oliveira's story, it's time for a shift. Tony sees that Gianfranco has hurt her, and Gianfranco needs to be accountable for his actions. When both couples are accountable for their own choices, they can start improving their relationship.
Gianfranco. Do you love this woman?
Sì, l'amo.
Is there any question in your mind?
Non ho dubbi.
It's
No, I don't have any doubt.
Why are you around?
Non sto scopando in giro.
I'm not sleeping around.
L'ho fatto.
I did it in the past.
Nella fase iniziale, quando mi sono separato da mia moglie, che sono andato con lei, ho avuto dei mesi di confusione.
Was in the initial
Passato-
phase of his life after he
Tra una
just
storia e
separated.
l'altra.
Before when he met her, is in the initial phases when he wasn't really, he was very confused, and so he was still sleeping around.
Before they were married?
Non siamo
We're not
sposati.
married, we're together.
Oh, together. So it was in the beginning phase when he was still figuring things out.
He said, well, you know, I love her, but in the meantime, I'm just going to sleep around until I really have the assurance that she really loves me.
Do other people do that?
Infatti io sono rimasta male perché non lo vedo normale.
I don't see this as a normal thing that he sleeps around.
He's an Italian man that sleeps around and that's not a normal thing? Are you new? I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying,
Avevo
is that not a pattern in the culture? Is not the president of the country around on a regular basis? And so you're surprised that a man that does not yet have your total commitment to him would actually engage in sexual relations with other women.
Io ero incinta.
I was pregnant,
With his child?
yes.
Asshole. Gianfranco. I'm renaming you dickhead from this point on. So you weren't sure if she was committed to you even though she was carrying your child? You're slow, is that the deal?
Io non riesco neanche a ricordarmi tutta questa fase.
I really don't even remember all these things.
Well, Alzheimer does that to you, old man. Now, here's what's true. That this woman who he loves very dearly and who he had a child with while she was pregnant, he had sexual relations with 1 or 2 or 3, how many other women?
3.
During that same time period?
3.
3. Okay. 3. Do you love this man? Do you love this man?
Sì,
See. Does he love you? Tell the truth, don't with me.
penso di sì.
I think so.
Okay, that's called prove it to me, bastard. Does she believe he loves her? Yes or no? Absolutely she knows he loves him. She just hates the behavior. Don't you? She fears and hates that behavior. She loves him and she knows he loves her. She's just scared. True or false?
Sì,
C means true.
giusto.
True?
Yes.
So, you have 2 people love each other. Now, it's easy to call him a dickhead, but you have to remember that in reality, people do whatever they can to survive, to meet their what? Based on their blueprint and the meaning it gives them at the time. So, the last thing I would endorse was this man's behavior. But if you and I want to more than judge and actually influence something, we have to understand and actually appreciate it without judging it. How many follow? For her to ever feel certain, she probably has to be able to find a way to understand that no matter how thin you slice it, no matter how horrible he looks to us, there are two sides to everything.
The first step of relationship healing is for both couples to hold themselves accountable for the relationship. This doesn't mean that Oliveira is accountable for 50% of the relationship and Gianfranco the other 50. There's no room here for partners to be making excuses or saying that's not my job. None of that works in an intimate relationship. Being accountable in a relationship means that Oliveira takes responsibility for the entire relationship, 100%. And Gianfranco is also responsible for the entire relationship. Being accountable means taking ownership of the results you're producing, being honest about your mistakes, and always focusing on what's working and what you can do better. The second step of relationship healing is meeting each other's 6 human needs. In our way of working, there are 6 human needs that are responsible for virtually all human behaviors and decisions. These are needs that we need to meet on a regular basis, no matter what. The first need is for certainty, the ability to be safe and comfortable. This is a primal survival instinct, and when we don't feel certainty, it's hard to focus on anything else. And you'll see that this is a need that Oliveira focuses on way too much, and it's responsible for a great deal of her troubles. The second need is for variety. In order to feel fully alive, we need to experience change, emotional shifts, new ideas, movement in your body. The third need is for significance. We all need to feel special, needed, and worthy of attention. The fourth need is for love and connection. We all need love, but many of us will settle for connection, the feeling of being connected to someone, or belonging to a group, or even just connecting with yourself. The fifth need is for growth. You need to keep on expanding and growing, or you start to die. And the sixth need is for contribution beyond ourselves. These first 4 needs, certainty, variety, significance, and love and connection, are the needs of the personality, and we all meet them in some way. We literally can't live without them. The last 2 needs, growth and contribution, are the needs of the spirit. And even though most people don't focus on them, they're the real secret to lasting happiness. Now, when you're in a couple, it's absolutely essential that you're aware of how you're meeting your partner's needs. And the 6 human needs gives you a simple way to do that. Tony's going to explain now how the 6 human needs work to keep couples together. Listen.
Because this I know. I've been with hundreds of thousands of couples. I've never ever been with a couple where when people come together, they don't say something like, I gave him or I gave her everything. And yet they're separating. And I always tell them everything except what they needed. Raise your hand if you got that. So if someone is not with you, your need for protection and your fear you're not enough will make you find a way to blame them or blame yourself rather than just figuring out what's been missing. I've never been with a couple where someone came and said, oh my God, whenever I'm with him or her, I feel so certain that he or she loves me. And I feel like the most important person on earth to them. And we have so many surprises. I never know what he or she's going to do. It's so exciting. I feel important, significant. I know I'm the most loved person in the world to them. We're always growing, we're always giving. I'm just gonna leave them. It's impossible. Remember I told you when anytime you associate a thought, a feeling, or emotion to meeting at least how many needs? It becomes an addiction. If you meet all 6, you have a love slave. They cannot leave you, they cannot part from you, they cannot do anything but think about you every moment. But most of you want a love slave without meeting people's needs. You want to meet the needs they have the way you would meet them, not the way they need them. You want to do it based on your rules instead of caring enough to find out what they need to feel loved. And so you meet some of their needs, and that's why you have a relationship. Watch this. On a scale from 0 to 10, how much do you feel this man loves you? And I don't want you to try to call to him. I just want the truth. You can always play with him and beat him up later. I want to know, how much do you love him, 0 to 10? Better yet, how much does he love you? 0 is not at all, 10 is he truly loves you. Tell me the truth and don't f with me, I don't have time.
The first way to use the 6 human needs to transform your relationship is to simply understand the levels at which the 6 needs are being met. You ask, how am I meeting my partner's need for certainty? Put it on a scale from 1 to 10. How am I meeting my partner's need for variety? How am I meeting their need for significance? And how am I meeting the needs of love and connection? Are we experiencing growth together? And how am I meeting their need for contribution? Go through this exercise quickly and write down the first number that comes to mind. Don't hesitate, be spontaneous. It will show you a world of things that you can improve in your relationship. Now Tony's asking Olivera to tell him how much Gianfranco loves her, 1 through 10. It should be a simple answer. Let's see what happens.
A dire il vero, sono confusa.
I'm confused.
She's confused.
So why is Tony celebrating right now? It's because he teaches that when you're confused, it means you're now open to finding new solutions to a problem.
It seemed like a simple question, so I'll ask it again. How much does this man love you? 0 to 10. 0 is not at all. 10 is he really, truly, absolutely loves you, even if he's a dickhead sometimes.
Non lo so,
I don't know.
You don't know in this moment, or you don't know?
non lo so.
I don't know.
Da tanti anni che cerco il suo aiuto a recuperare e farmi avere un po' di fiducia nei suoi confronti, ma non lo fa.
In many years, he's telling me to trust him, but I still can't trust him.
I'm not asking you to trust him. I'm not asking about even staying with him. I'm asking, how much does he love you?
Non abbastanza.
Not enough.
I know that, but I want to know how much he loves you, even though it's not enough. I'm not asking about his behavior. I'm asking about his heart, when he isn't screwed up in the head.
When you're hurt and feel uncertain, it's easy to get in a pattern of withholding, of deliberately not giving your partner what they need. People withhold their love in the hope that their partner will become more responsive, and they withhold in fear that if they give their love, the partner will leave or betray them. This strategy never works to bring you real love in the long term. Tony suspects that Olivera feels so uncertain and so hurt that even giving a score to Gianfranco's love will be giving him too much. The problem is, if you don't make yourself accountable for your relationship, if you don't even want to know whether you're meeting your partner's needs, then nothing can help you. If Olivera can't cooperate with Tony in this exercise and acknowledge the degree of love that she does get from Gianfranco, then she can't go through the second step of relationship healing.
How much love did you feel from him this morning?
Non mi ha trasmesso amore, era sesso.
This morning it wasn't love, it was sex.
Oh, so sex has nothing to do with love. Then you have no problem with having sex with other women.
It looks like there's some resistance building up inside Olivera. Tony's asked her to score Gianfranco's love for her, and she's not cooperating so far. A few minutes ago, she said she enjoyed the sex and found it exciting. Now she's taking the position that sex is just sex and has nothing to do with love. She seems determined not to give anything to her husband and not even acknowledge the nice things he's done for her. This is withholding. Now take a moment to ask yourself, when have you withheld from your partner? Have you ever seen your partner asking or needing something from you and you didn't give it? Why was that? What does that do to your relationship? Everyone withholds from time to time, but you need to be accountable for it. So if there's a time that you've withheld in the past, take a moment and write it down. Now back to the room.
So does he love you, 0 to 10? If you can't give me a straight answer, then you guys just go off and resolve this on your own. If you'd like some help, I need some answers quick. Not do you trust him, not about past actions. I just want to know, how much does he really love you? Not when you're testing him, how much does he love you?
0.
0. He doesn't love you, non ti ama? No.
then you should absolutely separate. Don't ever look in his eyes again, and please don't have sex with him. Have a seat. Thank you very much. Is that what you're going to do?
Sono tanto confusa.
She's confused again. No, she's confused again, ladies and gentlemen.
Olivera is confused again. It's possible that she doesn't understand the exercise. It's more likely that her level of certainty is so low that she's paralyzed. It's also possible that she doesn't feel understood. Part of being accountable in your relationship is making sure that your partner feels understood by you. In order to help Olivera and Gianfranco, Tony's thinking on his feet and will now speak indirectly to Olivera by speaking to the group. The goal is for her to feel understood and reconnected with her needs. Now pay close attention to Olivera's face and how she's feeling about Tony's words.
Here's what you need to understand. For time's sake, I'm going to do the translation. This woman lost her son. She was abused by another man. She lost her son to the court. The court gave it to that. She felt like her heart was ripped out of her. She's hearing the translation now, and I want her to interrupt me wherever I'm wrong. The court's taken away from her, feels a piece of her heart is ripped out. She feels out of control. What is most important to you, my dear? Is it love, significance, certainty? What's the most important thing to you?
L'amore.
Love. And her source of love, she doesn't just want love. Love is what she wants in her heart. But what she wants before the love is certainty. Even though her heart wants love. How many follow? You want love, but you want certain love.
Sì, sì.
See. That's yes. And you want significant love. You want to feel very special.
Ho bisogno di amore e di dare amore.
I need love and I want to give love.
I believe that. But before you're willing to, since your heart has been hurt, she wants certainty. And does she also want significance, even though her heart wants love?
Sì.
See. So what are the top two needs for her quickly? Okay, if you knew nothing else, even without the child, you know all the problems in their relationship. Because love that is passionate does not have certainty in it. Passionate love is uncertain. That's why it's passionate. If it's certain, it's predictable. And if it's predictable, it becomes boring. And as it becomes boring, the law of familiarity comes in. And you begin to take it for granted. And you no longer hunger for it. So she has always looked for love with certainty. Most women get this, they believe, through a child. Because they believe a man may leave me or cheat on me, but the child won't. The child will always love me. The child will always be there for me. Clearly, they've never had a 16-year-old when they're making these decisions. This young woman's child was taken from her before that time. That was her source of certain love. How many follow? And she lived in a world that was loveless with a man who beat her. So she had no certainty, and she'd feel completely in what? Which would make her want to feel like she might as well what? How many got it? Okay? In addition to that, what she wants under that is love, but she's got all these barriers in her blueprint. Then she has the illusion that that child will give her love forever. That's a biochemical illusion every woman has to have. That's how the species continues. But do children not always love you completely? Yes or no? Do all sons and daughters continually love people, their parents? Yes or no? No way. And they go through phases where you feel totally unloved. The only difference between the relationship you have with your children, which most of you is better than your intimate relationship, is because you made a decision at one point. They were your child, therefore you will love them no matter. And as a result, even if they murdered somebody, you'd still love them. Because most people make a decision at one point that they never question that I will love this child no matter what they do, no matter how they are, they're mine. If you made that same decision about that man, you'd have the same love that you wished you had from a child. but out of your need for certainty. You've not done that, and neither is he for her. He went around because he wasn't certain, even though she's got their child, that she's really gonna love me no matter what. So as long as she keeps this constellation, even without going her individual values and rules, she's gonna be unhappy. Now she has another rule that would make her feel suicidal, and that rule is, I can't have my son, I now have a daughter, which should light me up. But people focus on what they don't have. You're walking along, it's a beautiful day, and an ambulance cuts right by you on the sidewalk and misses you by 2 inches, just barely. Could have killed you, but it misses you. That's the event. Now, what's the story? This person almost killed me today. Not, wow, God saved me by 2 inches, or aren't I gifted? I almost died today becomes the story. And we forget everything else beautiful in our life and focus on the one thing we don't have. It's the nature of human beings. Rejection breeds obsession, and loss of any size, of any type, becomes magnified because human beings hate to lose. So now she, instead of focusing on the beauty of her daughter and saying, I will get my son someday, I have faith in God, somehow this is gonna serve. She, instead of saying maybe, she decides her life may be over, and then it gets stacked by the experiences of not feeling close to her husband, who does not know how to win with this woman. What do all men want to do, ladies? I'm sure you must figure it out by now. They want to make you what? How happy do you think she feels on a regular basis with this story, regardless of his behavior? Is she happy most of the time or unhappy? Which one? Now, that's not an excuse for him to not take care of her, but I want you to get a sense. He is failing every day and knows nothing what to do. He actually loves her. How many think he absolutely loves her? Let me see your hands. Everybody else in the room knows it but her. She knows it too. She's just not gonna give it to him till he earns it. She wants to punish him some more, thinking if I punish him more, he'll come to me more. He finally reaches out to her intimately, and she says it's exciting when she's being honest. A few minutes later, it has nothing to do with love. There was no love. He doesn't love me. Love is 0. What does he hear? I'm a 0 no matter what I do. And then somebody else looks at him and smiles and makes him feel happy for doing nothing. And for some reason, he's pulled towards that. And he's the asshole. He's willing to come to a woman he knew was miserable because he truly wanted to make her happy. And in the beginning, even though she was losing her child, my bet is there were moments in which she felt reassured, strengthened, loved by him, and it filled her up. She's found a way to have pain to get him to pay attention to her, instead of losing her radiance to get him to pay attention to her. And when he does finally come, he can't succeed, and so he'll go someplace where he can. In your man's case, on the stage as a minimum, where others will find him funny, brilliant, and attractive, and will laugh and smile and flash various body parts at different stages to get his attention. And you'll be crushing him, and he will love you, and this will be coming at him. It'll be no, 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 until one day it'll be a threshold. He may not go have sex with somebody, but he'll take that energy in, and you'll think he's an asshole. How many are getting the dynamics of how complex this really gets in life? So the truth of the matter is the source of the problem is her blueprint. Her life is not a bitch. She has a beautiful child. She has a man who loves her. She has the opportunity to eventually get that child back if she stays strong, filled with faith, and never gives up. If nothing else, that child will have a point in their life when they can leave that man. They'll be old enough to make their own choices. And if that man really is abusive, he will be seeking out his mother. Unless his mother's dead because she took her life, which is not about to happen. She does that to try to get her husband's attention because he's deadened to her being sad all the time. It doesn't even affect him anymore. He's so used to it, it hurts him, but he can't take it. So you know why he doesn't remember? Because it makes him feel like a total what? So he takes the big stuff and makes it as small and far away and non-remembered as he possibly can. Because he loves her. If he didn't love her, he wouldn't do that. He would just leave her. Frankly, there are a lot of happier, easier people to be around. And you're an attractive woman visually, and I'm sure you are in your heart and soul, but the external stuff's gonna go away. And you know it. So if that internal stuff doesn't shine a lot better, it's not hard to figure out what's gonna happen. And that's why, what percentage of marriages end? No, it used to be 50%. Since 1983, it's 67%. That's in the US. People who quit 50%, that's true, it's 50% in total, but since 1983, it's exploded. So if you take 93 above, that's the percentage. And it's because no one teaches us the dynamics of how we interact because our culture has become focused on ourselves. All this is about who? Is this about her husband? Yes or no? Any of this about his needs? Have you heard anything out of her about what he needs or wants or desires or dreams or what she's here to give him? Not a thing. Now you know why she's in pain. It isn't because her child is gone. It isn't because he cheated on her. It's because all she focuses on herself and her own wounds. If she got out of herself and focused on her husband or a mission or her daughter or all the above or the things she's grateful for in her life, she would light up like a Christmas tree and she'd have moments she was sad about her son, but she'd know somehow together we can do it. And I bet that man would bust his ass to work with her to find some way to get that boy back. But when she tells him he doesn't even love her, not even zero, that's her way of trying to stab him. Do you think stabbing a man's gonna make him come work harder to be close to you? Maybe for a short time he will. Now, I'm not defending him. He's been a dumbass. But I don't know any man or any woman who hasn't been also. Maybe in a different way. Is his behavior any dumber than hers? Is his behavior any more selfish than hers? Why would he stay with her when no matter what he does, it's never enough? How many get this?
The third step of relationship healing is to create rituals of giving and receiving. Now, there are two basic ways to get attention: by taking or requesting attention, and by giving attention. As children, we learn to request love and attention when we got hurt. As adults, we still get hurt, and it's equally important that we get attention and love when we need it. The problem comes when you get addicted to getting attention through your pain. In our culture, if someone is hurt, we feel obligated to help them. And some people realize that if they're always hurt, always having trouble, always in an emergency, they can get attention around the clock. The problem is that it's a very low quality attention. It's not the attention of a passionate lover who's driven to be with you. It's not the attention of someone who worships your soul. It's the attention of someone who feels obligated. So Tony's goal here is to educate Olivera and Gianfranco in the art of giving and receiving. So far, Olivera has refused to acknowledge Gianfranco's love. She's withholding. What she needs to understand is that it's much more powerful to influence him if she's actually meeting his needs. She'll actually experience more certainty and control in the relationship if she rewards him by thanking him, smiling at him, showing him affection. This will get his absolute attention. It's the attention of a passionate lover, it's the attention she really wants, and it's the best way for her to meet both of their needs. So back to Tony, who will start this process by talking to Olivera about the sources of love in her life. Watch how this affects her.
I feel for you. Because I feel for you, I can't let you live in this pity pot anymore. You can choose to stay in this pity pot. You got a son out there that someday is gonna seek his mother and actually love her more than if she was there every day, because we all desire what's been taken from us. He will hunger for you more than if you're with him every day of your life, assuming you're alive. You have a daughter that needs you right now, that lights you up when you even think about her. True? You have this man, Gianfranco Smanko, who when he got to be here in the seminar and start to own himself again, wanted to get closer. I think he loves you and wanted somehow to get closer. And you said it was very exciting, but you can't remember the last time that was there. That tells me he's not paid as much attention to you as you want. By the way, how much attention does she want? When does she want attention?
All the time.
True or false, ladies? Come on.
True.
Make some noise. Now, there's two problems with that. First, men don't have that much attention. They don't. Their brain works different. Because her idea of attention also is she would talk to him about all her, ladies, all her what? Problems. And here's the worst part. He might be willing to do that, but she doesn't really want to solve them. Now, Gentlemen, who knows what I'm talking? Make some noise if you know what I'm talking about. So let me see. You want me to listen constantly while you talk about what's f***ed up and can't be solved, even though I know I can help. And I'm an asshole if I don't do that on a daily basis. Okay, that's really helpful for me to understand. I think I'll go to work.
In order to be effective in giving and receiving attention from your partner, it's important to understand the different attention styles of men and women. So Tony will now explain how to understand the attention style of the opposite sex.
You like to share with other women every detail of what's going on because you're a gatherer, not a hunter. See, hunters, 2 million years old in men, if they're masculine, they hunt. We look to get an outcome. If we get that, gentlemen, does it matter how we kill the thing as long as we bring it back? Yes or no? The woman wants to explain, kill it like this and adjust it like that and do it this point here and explain that thing there and then make this thing happen there and then when you go back, put it over here and then stick it here and then place it in that place and then make it happen there. Now, ladies, before you start feeling hurt and misunderstood and unappreciated, perhaps I should clarify for you. Hunters hunt. They do one thing, and their job is to solve the problem, bring it home, and we're programmed to do that, hoping when we bring it back, we would see a celebration for the victory that we really went out to try to do for you. Now, these are the old days when we were the only hunters. To be fair, ladies, you've become economic hunters as good or better than we are. And many of you today, in the current economy in the United States, more women are now, for the first time in human history, employed than men. And for the first time in history, many women make more than men. Women still make less overall, but it's also statistically because they pick jobs that don't pay as high because they provide more freedom, schedule and time-wise, so they can have a family. Those are the facts. Now, some women get in very aggressive, difficult jobs, take the same risk, they make the same amount of money. So if we took away the story and we stopped judging and we went back to the genetics, we'd say, hunters go hunt, and they have 2 questions whenever you're talking. Question 1, what's the point? And they have a hard time finding it when you're speaking very often. And here's why. Gatherers are not hunters. Gatherers have to do something different to survive. Gatherers have to walk around and truly think about this. Gentlemen, you gotta understand this so you appreciate your woman at a different level. Gatherers have to walk around and figure out where the berries are, where the food is, everything else. And as they're going, they gotta remember it all because they have to get back to that exact spot where the fruit is, the exact spot, but also at the exact right time. Because otherwise the bats or the other animals get it. You gotta get it right at the right time or the family doesn't survive. How many follow this? Say aye. And so when they come home, since they're also the weaker physically, and many women will get mad at this, but genetically, there's no question, pound for pound, who is stronger, a man or woman, physically, not stronger spiritually, mentally, emotionally, just purely structurally. True or false, ladies? Okay? So as a result, they have to go out and remember where everything is, and they come back and they want to share with everybody the information, because if I don't share it, if something happens to me, the tribe dies. So they have to come tell everybody. So they come and they have what we would call, a woman who shared this with me years ago, taught this to me, she goes, it's like we have these berry markers. We have to find where all the details, and so we come back, we remember those details. Not only do we have berry markers, but there's markings. We gotta know which berries to pick that you can eat, which ones will kill you. If we're wrong about one little detail as a gatherer, we could kill our children, kill our husband, kill everyone. So details are 1,000,000 times more important genetically in every woman in this room, because you gotta be able to mark where it is, what time it is, where's the point in time, and you gotta be able to tell which one's the right ones, the wrong ones, and process is very important to women, because I gotta process these berries properly, because some of them, if you cook them too much, they're acid. If you don't cook enough, you'll die. So what, when, where, how, and every little detail of the process is life and death. And it must be what for the survival of the species? It must be what? Shared. So women come and they tell men in detail what the to do. Now, men are hunters. We don't need to remember that the animals are moving all over the place. We got to be able to change constantly. They change constantly. There isn't one place, one location, one element. Anyone will cook it. So we just want to get the job done. And while you're explaining it, we could have killed 3 deer. It's not disrespect for you, and it's not your disrespect for us. We're doing what we're genetically programmed to do for 2 million years in the animal part of our system. So here's what women do, gentlemen, and this is the part you don't understand. They come and they start talking, and they're giving you what they learned out there in the meadow. We call it the meadow report. And they tell you every detail you could possibly never want to know in your lifetime times 10. Sage Robbins, where are you? My wife, are you in the room?
Tony's calling on his wife, Sage, to demonstrate a meta report.
Sweetheart, you're very good at these meta reports, and I've learned to totally appreciate them. Can you tell me, sweetheart, the other day we were in New York and you went out for about 5 minutes and came back and talked to me about 45 minutes about the 5 minutes. You remember that?
We were going to India, and it was a very spontaneous thing, and we weren't planning to go to India, and I had all this luggage. We had about 12 bags. We'd actually just come from a Platinum Partner event from Mexico. And so I had all these big suitcases, and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have the perfect suitcase to go to India. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And we only had about 20 minutes, and a very dear friend of ours was coming over. And I was so hungry. This is a true story. I was starving, and I was like, I don't have time to get lunch, but maybe I'll have time to go to Starbucks. So anyways, I go like running out, and I ran past Bloomingdale's, and Bloomingdale's just like it started up for Christmas, and they had like the little elves and Santas, and I was like, oh my goodness. And yet I was still so hungry, but I still had to stop and like look at the Santas and the elves. Anyways, I went to Starbucks, and Starbucks has, I don't know if you've ever been to Starbucks, they have these little hoot owl, like kind of shortbread cookies, and they're my favorites. So I got my cookies and got my tea, and I'm like running down to the luggage store because I have to go to India. And I get to the luggage store, and I'm looking at all the luggage, and they have this amazing luggage. It's like a trunk, and I'm thinking, sugar, I can't carry that on. And then I loved this luggage. Plus, it was $900, and I thought it was too expensive. So I go to the back of the place, and the guy's chatting with him, and I have my tea. And anyways, I negotiated. He gave it to me for $399. I made it back to the place in about 35 minutes, and we coached a very dear friend of ours. I had more cookies, and that was it. And we went to India that night.
Now,
It's a true story, and this was just like 2 weeks ago.
what's that, honey?
I said, this was just 2 weeks ago. Now, here's the funniest part of the story. I didn't take the luggage to India, but anyways, that was beside the point. It was too big, and I couldn't carry it on. Oh, my goodness.
Now, I want you to notice something. That was the shortest meta report I've ever heard in my life. Now, how many of you actually enjoyed hearing that meta report? Let me see your hand. Say aye. Part of why you enjoyed it is you knew what it was. The men enjoyed it because of 2 things. She said it with such passion and with such energy and with such happiness. Imagine that same meta report going on for 45 minutes about everything that's horrible, and a man's not allowed to do anything to make it better, or you feel like he doesn't understand you. Can you hear the men in the room? Men, make the sound of what that feels like. And that's the sweetest sound they can make for it. So ladies, here's what I want you to know, and gentlemen, by the way, ladies, you may be thinking I'm making this all about you. Watch. I'm really making it about you, gentlemen, learning how to appreciate the meta report, because I want to tell you why you need to appreciate it. If a woman doesn't tell another woman the meta report of what just went on, they know they're not trusted and their relationship is on the edge. If a woman says, if you say to a man, if I come along here and I'm a woman and I come along to a masculine man and say, how was work today? William says, it was great. That's the meta report. What was great? Helped a lot of people, a lot of fun. But how did you feel? Totally great? Good. It's a great job. That's a man's meta report. And by the way, if a man went, oh, and did you know, and the little things here and the other things like that, I'm sure you haven't seen it, but if you saw this thing here, you went to, men would be, what the f is going on with you, to another man. But see, women think men are hairy women, and they need a meta report. Now watch this though, gentlemen, and you'll understand why listening to your woman's meta report will be useful. When you're talking, there's only 2 questions that go through a man's mind. Question number 1, what's the point? Do you know how many times I asked that question when she first told me this story for 30 minutes? And I wasn't able to come up with it. In fact, at the end, as she told you, we didn't even take suitcase to India. But the fact that made it so happy made me happy, because when women are happy, men claim victory. If I took her to the movie and she loved the movie, I walk away going, I wrote the movie, I picked the movie, I selected the movie. She's happy because I took her to the right movie. When she's unhappy, how can I pick such a movie? This is the truth, ladies. Men want to make you that happy. You just don't know it. Because most of you, they've given up on making you happy because you've made it impossible. But one of the reasons you don't feel happy is you'd feel happy if you could give your meta report. So gentlemen, here's the answer. If a woman says, how was the party, to another woman, and that woman says, ladies, another woman says, supposedly your friend says, it was good. Ladies, make the sound of how that feels. Go. Guys would be, cool. And so you push deeper, don't you, ladies? You say, well, who was there? Was that Catherine girl there? And she says, yeah, Catherine was there. Well, what was she wearing? You want to know the details, the markings, the berry markers, were there berry markers here? What was she wearing? Was she being the normal horse she is? Come on, tell me. And if she just goes, no, she was dressed nice, and you keep digging, and she doesn't give you a meta report, ladies, do you trust her anymore, yes or no? When you go to your man and ask him about what he just did and he gives you no details, you think he's a woman that's hairy and you shouldn't trust him. Men don't give meta reports. Gentlemen, do you agree with me on this, yes or no? They give a meta report if their job requires a meta report. If they're an artist, a writer, a director, an entertainer, then they have to. It's part of their job. But when you see them off the job, they don't give meta reports. You don't trust them because he doesn't give you those details, and he feels your lack of trust and doesn't know where the it's coming from, and feels rejected, which is the thing he'd rather die than feel. And then someone else will, like most women do when they first meet, they don't uncork and do all the talking. They ask and let him talk and talk and talk, and he goes, holy shit. She was smiling the whole time, she was happy. I was talking, not much either. I didn't have to talk much, and she was happy. But those days don't last very long, do they? So gentlemen, here's the deal. You go to your woman, gentlemen, how long, by the way, ladies, men too physically process different than women. Women process both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously. That's why a woman never forgets anything. Because she doesn't just remember the words you said, she attaches an emotion to it so she'll remember 20 years from now and remind you again. Men just process in one hemisphere, and they have less data storage. That's a fact, less connections. So there's only so much that they store there unless they train their brain differently. We can all train our brains differently, but it takes a lot of practice. So most men, how long, if you truly are interested, can you stay focused on a story with no point? Ladies, I want to ask you, am I being harsh? Ladies, do your meta reports really have a major point? Yes or no?
No.
All you want to do is share all those details. Yes, it has a point for a woman, where you're genetically sharing the most important things like location, and it was in New York, and it was on 6th Street, and it was between the 2 Starbuckses, and it was this little thing, and it was a cup this side and the berry thing here because this one will kill you and that one will save you. It's very important for a woman. But for a man, none of this is going to help me hunt. None of it's gonna help me take care of you. How many follow what I'm talking about here? So men are looking for a point. And by the way, I know some of you actually think there is a point, but that's feminine logic. So man's going, what's the point? Can't find one. Gentlemen, how long can you focus on a story with no point? Give me a time period, just honestly, outside. Raise your hand if it's less than 10 minutes. By the way, are we talking about a woman or any story? Say it again. Has nothing to do with you, ladies. You're taking it personal. If there ain't a point, we're out of here because we're asking two questions. What's the point or how can I fix it? Those are the two things we're here to do. And you don't have a point and you don't want us to fix it. That's confusing to us. So ladies, I've done research in 100 countries. The most men will ever tell me they can listen to a story. I don't bring women into it. I'm doing a shortcut because of time here. The most men will listen to a story, the most, is if they worship the other person 15 minutes max, and that's when they're dating. So here's the deal. You say, honey, I'd like to share with you my meta report. That alone, he goes, okay, I need to totally focus and hear her and connect with her, but it don't go past 10 minutes. Sage gave you 1 in 4 or 5 that I thoroughly enjoy. I actually enjoy her meta reports because truthfully, most of them are 10 or 15 minutes max. But more importantly, they have some joy or happiness in them. Not all of them, certainly not all of them, but not every one is a wretched story of pain to try to get my attention. She gets my attention for good things too, anything. She got my attention, period. Because she lets me have victories. When I notice and give her attention, instead of punishing me for taking a few minutes to do it, she rewards me the minute I get there. Remember I said we're always training each other how to treat each other, how to feel. My daughter one time was so upset with her boyfriend, he didn't call her and he kept saying, you better call me, better call me. He didn't call. When he finally called, guess what she did? Laid into him. I pulled her aside and said, honey, do you want to end this relationship? She said, what do you mean? I said, you screamed at him when he called. She goes, yeah, but he didn't call forever. I said, when he does the thing you want him to do, anchor him with pleasure. The minute he called you, she said, oh my God, and I'm so glad to hear from you. I was missing you. How are you? Not punishing him, rewarding him. Then what he'll want to do is call when? Again. Otherwise he learns whenever I call him and let me put off the pain as long as I can. Raise your hand if you understand this, ladies. By the way, gentlemen, it's the same way. If your lady does something finally and you go, finally, she isn't going to show up again. Masculine responds to challenge with appreciation. Feminine responds constantly to compliments that are sincere, constantly reinforcing. So this woman is a beautiful soul who's had a really painful set of meta reports that are truly truthful, and she told him details and then didn't allow him to solve it. And so he finally tried to find some way to survive through work and probably got attracted to someone who on the surface wasn't making him wrong. That's no excuse for his behavior. But that's what happened. Somebody else met more of his needs. If she would have been honest and told me how much love he has for her, how much variety in their relationship, how much significance, you'd find these numbers are not high on either side because neither one's fulfilling each other's needs because they've forgotten how. So ladies, I'm not telling you can't give your meta report. I'm saying if you can find the humor in your meta report and the beauty of it, that it's genetic in you, but if you can also remember the fact that he doesn't give you a meta report does not mean he's not trustable. Because when somebody doesn't trust you over and over again, you finally go, it. It's not worth the effort. I've done nothing wrong. How many ladies can understand this? Raise your hand, say I.
Tony's making sure that both Gianfranco and Oliveira understand that he's not taking sides. If you want to enjoy your relationship, you can't hang back and criticize. You need to be active. Tony's job is to make sure that both members of the couple are doing their best for the relationship. The fourth step of relationship healing is to inspire trust in each other. In the big picture, trust is inspired when you feel someone has your best interest at heart and that your interests are aligned. In the short term, though, trust is inspired by a variety of minute-to-minute factors that may not be conscious for you. Now, what Tony's saying is that men and women inspire trust in opposite ways. Women communicate through meta reports that share everything spontaneously, including details, experiences, and emotions. Not sharing a full report from another woman means there's a loss of sharing, which means a loss of trust. Men communicate in the opposite way, by filtering out everything they saw in the meadow and aligning with each other by sharing the objective of the hunt. And they often do this in silence or with minimal communication. A man that gets distracted by details and loses track of the objective loses the trust of other men. The point here is that in order to feel trust for you, your partner expects certain things in your communication, and it's important that you appreciate your partner's language. So here's a quick tip. If you're a hunter type and you don't have much to say about your day, at least say it with a warm, reassuring gesture, like a look, a smile, or a hug. And if for 2 million years hunters have been bringing their winnings home every night, then when you go home after work, don't go home empty-handed. Once a week, bring home a small gift as a sign of your affection. If you're a gatherer type and your partner is a hunter, then remember that hunters accept each other by respecting the hunt. Show your partner that you respect and appreciate the effort he's making for you and your family. Align with him. These two rituals will inspire trust and respect in each other and will be a source of ongoing reassurance, trust, and love.
Did he look at you in a way that got your attention?
Sì, mi guardava e mi ascoltava tanto. Sì.
Yeah, he looked and he also listened to me.
Yes, he looked and also listened to you. In fact, she probably shared a meta report, and he was dating, so he listened for at least 15 or 20 minutes consistently. He wasn't being deceitful. It was just the first time he'd heard it, so it was still fascinating. It wasn't the same meta report for the 5,000th time with negative, heavy emotions where he felt like he could do nothing about it. I'm not making fun, ladies. How many really get what I'm talking about now? Because if you get it, ladies, you'll see these men actually do love you. That's why I'm telling you this. They love your ass. They just don't understand this meta report and you think they're not trustable because they don't give it to you and they don't listen to it. You think they don't understand you. They don't understand the structure of how you communicate. They understand you more than you think. If she feels that in this man is strength, strength can come in the form of a bad boy. Strength can come in the form of a man who feels like he owns himself, that nothing can take him for what he's focused on. Ladies, if you agree that is the absolute killer quality, make enough noise so every man in this room hears it, please. Because gentlemen, now that ladies think I'm not on their side, some of them and others now know I am on their side. How many get that I'm on your side, ladies? 100%. For those of you who don't think I am or think I'm just making generalizations about you, let me help you express yourself to men so they understand the real problem. That no man in this room who's masculine has any full appreciation of, not because he doesn't care, because he has no experience like you, because he's not a hairy woman. Ladies, I want an honest answer. How many of you have had a time, sometime in the last month, where you were someplace by yourself or even with someone else and you had a moment of concern for your safety, either walking out to a car at night, going underground to a parking lot? Raise your hand if you've had moments where you actually feared for your life. Raise your hands. Gentlemen, if you look around the room, it's about probably 95% of the women in the room. I think that would be a conservative estimate. Ladies, how many have had that experience in the last 2 weeks? You've had an experience where you had that fear. Raise your hand. In the last 2 weeks. And now we're at about 45 or 50% of the room. Who's had that experience, ladies, in the last week before you got here? In the last week before you got here, you actually had moments where you had fear for your safety. And we're about 25 or 30%. 25 to 30% of the women in the last week have had this. 95% have had it in the last month. Gentlemen, if in the last month you've had fear for your safety, gut level like, oh my God, survival fear, raise your hand. Is there one hand up I'm missing? Okay, one person, one man, 2 men, 3 men, 4 men. 4 men out of 1,000 men on average. There's a few more women here than men. I think it's about 55, 45. But roughly 1,000 men in this room, 4 in the last month have had it. 95% of the women have fear for their safety. This is the difference between a hunter and a gatherer. Women have been preyed upon as gatherers forever. There's a reason why women give all these barrier reports and details. Because even though they're stronger than men physically and emotionally, women can take pain much more than men. If you doubt it, go into a birthing room and watch the man fall over while the woman's doing all the work screaming. Okay? Is it true? Women have much more powerful tolerance for pain. Women today, a woman could be making $300,000 a year in personal income. She could have a child without a man. She can be as educated or smarter than most of the men she knows. And yet some part of her genetically still is looking for someone to give her a sense that she is protected. Ladies, if that's true, make some noise. Including the woman who'll say, "F you, I don't need that." She doesn't want that. Unless she is truly masculine, she absolutely has this need, because it has nothing to do with logic. It has to do with 2 million years of conditioning. Now, to fully appreciate the women in this room and what they go through, gentlemen, so you can find your heart when it feels like they're being mean, you got to know how scared they really are. You have no idea how scared this woman is. Did you see this difference in the rooms? 95% of the women worried about their safety. 4 men. Gianfranco, when you met this woman, looking at her, were you attracted to her?
Sì, mi sono sentita attirato subito.
Yes, I was horny straight away.
Horny straight away.
Sì.
See, were you very attracted to her?
Ho lasciato mia moglie dopo 2 mesi.
I left my wife after 2 months for her.
Now we understand Oliveira's deepest fear. The fear that if Gianfranco left his former wife for her, then he might leave her for another woman. Tony's going to address that fear by showing her how to truly attract and influence Gianfranco in a way that will make both of them happier and more passionate.
Now, this man left his wife, and I'm not going to take the time to get under it all, but I can tell you why he left his wife. I can tell you within a shadow of a doubt. He left his wife because they both weren't meeting each other's needs. And the reason they did it is he couldn't figure out how to continue to make her happy. Now, you could say, well, she was unfair, she was that, but I guarantee you, under it all, beyond all those judgments, is they didn't fulfill each other anymore. And I bet in the beginning, she was attractive to him, central to him, and sexy to him, because most women do that in the beginning. Either way, it's people not meeting their partner's needs. It takes 2 to tango. The next piece is radiance. Radiance is, because you're confident and you're passionate, radiance is this energy about you. There's a honesty to you. There isn't a facade. It's not a manipulation. Radiance would never say, how much does he love you, 0 to 10? If she answered authentically, maybe a better word than radiance is authenticity, because authenticity creates radiance. It's not that you're always happy. It's that you're authentic. So even if you're unhappy, you're totally unhappy and passionate about it. If you do that, you won't stay unhappy forever, will you, ladies? If you fully express your feeling, does it change? Yes or no? How fast does a woman's emotion change if she feels like she fully feels the feeling? How fast, ladies? Gentlemen, have you ever seen a woman, she was like totally happy, and then all of a sudden she's so angry and you're like, I did nothing? How many guys have been through this? Say aye. You don't have to do anything. If you do nothing, their emotions will change, because that's the beauty of the feminine. The feminine can change radically. Men get stuck. Today, women get stuck because they become like men. They no longer flow with all their emotions. But when you're confident and you're passionate, ladies, you're authentic and you fully feel, and as a result, you radiate. Even a woman who's crying, a man can be pulled through when it's authentic tears, not manipulation tears. Gentlemen, how many have ever had a woman totally upset, angry, whatever, and then she started to cry, and you're like, oh, because you got to help her? How many men in this room? Make some noise, gentlemen, go. Because every man, ladies, what you don't get about us is we're called to take care of you if you're authentically there and not criticizing us. We want to more than anything. We want to make you happy. To see you sad kills us inside. So if it's authentic tears, that actually pulls a man towards you. Authentic laughter, authentic anger that you fully feel until it's done. It's all of a manipulation that you see she did over here and wasted 45 minutes of our time to try to get to just tell me the truth that every one of you in this room knows. You know she knows he loves her or she would have left and then wonders why he's not honest with her. By the way, how much confidence has she displayed? How much passion? How much authenticity even? 0 to 10, how much authenticity we've gotten out of her and all the time we've been her. Give her a number. Ladies, no men vote. Ladies, you vote. 0 to 10, authenticity. Raise your hand if it's a 10, a 9, an 8, a 7, a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, a 2. If you think 1 or 0, raise your hand and make some noise. Most of you give your 3, 2, 1, or 0, which I would agree with you, it's in that range. That makes no man want to take care of you. None. No man will. On top of being inauthentic, she's trying to hurt him, thinking that'll bring him closer. So you know, if I was talking to you, I'd say, stop. She's just screaming to you, come show me you love me. Break through my defenses. Show me you care. Show me your strength that I saw when I met you at the beginning. Show me the strength of the man I thought would help me get through this. That's what she's saying to your I'm not done with you. I'm just starting with her since she raised her hand and said she was going to kill herself. Otherwise, that'd be all over your I got to start with her for that reason.
And if I was, sorry, this man loves you and adores you. To say that only love is just beautiful, not painful is a lie. And if you're going to love, you're going to hurt. You're going to hurt like hell. But the other side of that is something so magical and so incredibly beautiful. There's a depth in this man. He's just dying to feel like he's settling for crumbs. You haven't even thrown him a crumb. He's dying to feel like he's your man in some way, some shape, some form. And you're punishing him, and you're punishing, honestly, you're punishing yourself. You're not punishing him anymore. Do you know what? I can promise you, you could not beat this man up at the level that he has done himself. He has hated himself for what he has done to you. You can stop punishing him now because he's done that himself.
That's why he doesn't want to remember anything, because all his memories will bring pain.
And it is scary. It is terrifying. But it's so worth it. We didn't get here just by perfect, rosy, frolicking times. That shape, we had this amazing love and we've had beauty, but it's been the pain that's given us depth, that's given us that richness. And if you can love through that, there's a strength and there's a bond like nothing you will ever know. You will own that man's soul, but you have to open.
The only thing that will end a relationship with a man is when you close to him. When you open to him, he will die for you. This woman, open or closed to this man? Which one? Quick. Completely closed. It's not your size, it's not your shape, it's not your age. It's your radiance, it's your openness, it's your femininity that will make you own any man you want to own. But when you shut all those off, don't be wondering why A, you're miserable because you're not being your true self, and B, why he's not running here to take care of you. The real problem is she's focused on only who. That's the problem. It has nothing to do with him. In fact, if he was an asshole and went away and she re-grabbed those qualities in herself, would she have men lining up to take care of her, yes or no? No question about it.
We're still on the 4th step of inspiring trust. And Tony's talking about what women can do to inspire trust in men. As he said, when a woman is in trouble, men are drawn to help or even rescue her. However, if a man feels that a woman is using her pain or using her trouble to manipulate him, he loses trust and becomes suspicious.
Have you learned anything?
Sì.
What have you learned?
avere fede,
have trust,
trasmettere amore
transmit love,
e accettare l'amore.
and to accept love into my life.
Give her a hand. It's very beautiful, isn't it, Anna? I'd like to ask you a question again. John Franco, please come back over here. You've been a very good sport today. You've stayed present when a lot of things were said very harshly about you. You didn't take them personally because you've already judged yourself much harder. I saw it in your eyes. I respect you as a man. Not for things you've done. I've done stupid things too in my life. Most people have. I respect you because I know you love this woman even when she's given you none of the things you value, except you know her soul. I want to make sure tomorrow you know how to succeed with her. But I will tell you one lesson that is the only and most important lesson of all. Even if you're not a bad boy, even if you're not the strongest man on earth, if you will be present with her, that's the power that men need. Openness. Openness means, ladies, you accept them. You can't criticize them and be open to them. If they're accepted, and I know this sounds sick to some of you, if you actually at some level look up to them. You want to be looked up to, but you don't want to look up to them. If that person feels like you respect them, you honor them, you accept them, you will own them as long as you stay open. You will own this woman if you can be present in the middle of your deep fear you don't know what to do. Present means you can look into her eyes, and when she's having the most pain, instead of going, oh my God, I don't know what to do, then no, she doesn't need you to do anything. She needs you to be there for her and just feel her and love her. So I want you to try something. But before you do it, I want to warn you. Right when you finally pierce her and you get through to her, she'll get scared and she will kick you in the balls verbally. She will test you. It won't be because she doesn't love you. It'll be because she's scared, because she lives in a world that she has to worry about her safety. Something you never think about. If you can remember she's scared when she seems harsh, and you're strong enough to help her get through the fear by staying there for this soul, this woman, this little girl, then whenever she says, he doesn't love me, you grab her and go, I worship you, you can't get away from me. Look what that does to her. That even translates to English. She even gets it. You get it? If you can do that, she will die for you because she feels you'll die for her, and you two will go deeper. And all that you've been through will be like a bone that was broken. When it heals, it becomes the strongest bone in the body. Stronger than if it had never been broken. That's a physiological fact in the body, and it's a truth in a relationship. Most of you in business know that if a customer is upset and you find a way to make it better, your relationship will be stronger with that customer who was once upset than if they'd never been upset. True or false? Every relationship is deepened by pain. Sage and I have been through so many painful, challenging, problem things, but we've never blamed each other. In the moments we did, which were rare, we picked up and were responsible, and we gave back to the other. We never tried to hurt the other one. That's why we have the relationship we have. And when we up, we owned we up, and we came back. So in order for a relationship to work, you have to give up one game, the blame game. If you play the blame and criticism game, your relationship's over. It's just a matter of time. And maybe 10 years, maybe 5, maybe 20. And when I say over, energetically, sensually, it's over very quickly. So now.
And Olivia?
Yes?
No, just for a second. Olivia, when he's doing this, look in his eyes like you did when you first met him. Look at the man, look at the little boy. Look at the one who loves you. Look at the one who's scared as hell right now, but doing this anyways. Look at him playfully, look at him openly. Openness isn't just happiness or silliness or playfulness. You can open in pain. You can open it, it's a beauty and richness of life. Look in his eyes and see all that you did and forget about everything and just look in this moment like you did when you first met him.
I'm gonna give you some instructions.
The fifth step of healing your relationship is healing your wounds and creating passion. Everyone carries around pains and hurts from the past. Everyone has triggers, vulnerabilities, fears, and things that they avoid at all costs. Now, you can't make these wounds go away by being harsh or critical. You can't force them to go away or make them go away by rejecting or withholding. These wounds will only heal through the application of consistent love and acceptance. And when that happens, they turn into passion. Tony's next step is to show Oliveira and Gianfranco how to heal each other's wounds by being there for each other and showing each other love and acceptance. You'll see the passion that follows. When Oliveira let herself be vulnerable and authentic before Gianfranco, and when Gianfranco finally expressed his true strength and determination, then trust came back, and so did passion. This passion will continue to grow and create a whole new future for this couple and their daughter. Now take a moment and think what this couple's been through: the betrayals, the emotional withholds, the conflicts, and the months of zero passion. All these things melt away under the power of love and acceptance. Now back to the room.
What do you feel now when you look into your man's eyes?
Che mi ama.
That he loves me.
Yes. May I ask, on a 0 to 10 scale,
15.
15.
he always has. You're a beautiful soul, and he knows it more than anyone. And he wants to take care of you forever. How does that feel?
Una cosa strana qua.
I feel something strange inside,
Qua.
in my stomach.
Yes. You have gas?
Sarà certezza in questo momento.
I feel certainty in this moment.
When in doubt, pull her closer to you. When you're scared, I watch what you do. You pull back, pull her closer. Bring her strength. It'll her up. Give him a hand.
Oliveira stood up, feeling isolated, unloved, mistrustful of her partner, and pained at their loss of passion over the years. Now, just a few hours later, she can have a better relationship with Gianfranco than she's ever had in her whole life. It is possible. A few hours of taking the right steps, of acting intelligently and giving your all, can cut through a lifetime of negative experiences and guide you to the relationship of your dreams. All you have to do is follow the 5 steps of relationship healing. First, become accountable for your relationship. Relationship is not a 50-50 deal. Both partners need to give 100%. Step 2 is understand and meet each other's 6 human needs. Measure the needs that are being met and check up on them so that you know that your partner is being cared for. Step 3, create rituals of giving and receiving and keep those rituals alive. They'll sustain your passion and your love. Step 4, inspire trust in each other by showing your consistency and your honesty. Make sure that your partner knows your good intentions every day. And step 5, heal all wounds by the consistent application of love and acceptance. Love will heal all wounds and it'll fix problems that nothing else can fix. Follow these 5 steps right now, today, and you'll have love and passion for a lifetime.